Have you ever heard of a car built entirely in Kenya for Kenyans? It sounds like something from an alternate reality, but in the late 1980s, this was a national dream. It had a name, the Nyayo Car, a symbol of ambition, pride, and a future that felt just within reach. Today we're going back in time to uncover the story of this forgotten automotive dream, a tale of ambition, political will, and ultimately a heartbreaking collapse. What happened to the Nyayo Car? And what does its story tell us about Kenya's industrial journey? Let's find out. The story begins with one man, Kenya's second president, Daniel Arap Moi. In 1986, during a visit to the University of Nairobi's engineering department, he saw the incredible talent on display. Inspired by the industrial might of nations like Japan and Germany, he issued a challenge. Why can't we build our own car? It wasn't just a suggestion, it was a presidential directive. The mission was clear: create a vehicle that was affordable, durable, and truly Kenyan. The goal was to prove that Kenya had the brains, the skill, and the determination to become an industrial powerhouse. The dream wasn't just about building a car, it was about building a nation. The task fell to a dedicated team of engineers and technicians from the University of Nairobi, Kenya Railways, and the Department of Defense. They were given a tight deadline and immense pressure to deliver. Working tirelessly, they reverse-engineered various car components, sourcing what they could, and fabricating the rest from scratch. They were innovators, problem solvers, and patriots, all rolled into one. Against all odds, they succeeded. They didn't just build one car, they built 5 prototypes. The result was the Nyayo Pioneer. Imagine seeing it for the first time, a saloon car proudly bearing the Nyayo name. It wasn't a luxury vehicle, but it was sturdy and practical. Under the hood was a 1200cc engine, powerful enough to push the car to a respectable top speed of 120 kilometers per hour. For a country that had only known imported vehicles, this was a revolutionary moment. The prototypes were put through rigorous testing, driven on Kenya's varied and often unforgiving roads. They held up surprisingly well, proving that the concept was sound. The public was ecstatic. The media hailed it as a monumental achievement. For a brief, shining moment, it seemed like every Kenyan family might one day drive a car made right here at home. The dream was tangible. You could see it, touch it, and hear its engine roar. With the successful prototypes, the next logical step was mass production. To facilitate this, the government established the Nyayo Motor Corporation, a state-owned entity tasked with turning the dream into a commercial reality. A massive state-of-the-art factory was planned. The vision was grand: to produce thousands of cars annually, creating jobs, boosting the economy, and putting Kenya on the global automotive map. The government poured millions into the project. It seemed like nothing could stop the momentum. The Nyayo Car was no longer just an experiment, it was a national priority. The assembly line was waiting. But this is where the dream began to unravel. The project, born from a flash of presidential inspiration, soon became entangled in the complex web of politics and bureaucracy. The initial funding, while substantial, started to dry up. The project's costs spiraled, and questions about its financial viability began to surface. Was it truly possible for a state-run corporation to compete with established global car manufacturers? Critics argued that the project was more about national pride than sound economics. Political priorities shifted, and the unwavering support the project once enjoyed started to wane. The gears of progress began to grind to a halt. What followed was a slow, painful decline. The Nyayo Motor Corporation, once a symbol of a bright future, became a symbol of inefficiency and mismanagement. The grand plans for mass production never materialized. The factory that was supposed to churn out thousands of cars sat largely idle. The project was starved of resources and political will. The engineers and technicians who had poured their hearts into the prototypes were left disillusioned. By the mid-1990s, the writing was on the wall. The Nyayo Car Project was officially shelved, abandoned as quietly as it had been announced. The dream was over. In the aftermath, the Nyayo Motor Corporation was restructured and renamed. It became the Numerical Machining Complex, or NMC. Its focus shifted from building entire cars to manufacturing industrial and automotive spare parts. While the NMC continues to operate today, contributing to Kenya's industrial sector in its own way, it's a shadow of the original audacious dream. It produces components, not the complete iconic vehicle it was created for. The ambition to create a wholly Kenyan car died with the Nyayo Pioneer. So, what went wrong? It's a combination of factors. Some say the project was too ambitious too soon. Kenya's industrial base might not have been ready for such a massive undertaking. Others point to a lack of a long-term strategy, with the project being overly dependent on the whims of a single leader rather than a sustainable, market-driven plan. Financial mismanagement and a lack of private sector involvement also played a huge role. The project was a top-down directive, not a bottom-up innovation, which made it vulnerable to political shifts. Ultimately, it serves as a powerful case study in how a brilliant idea can fail without the right ecosystem to support it. Today, those 5 original Nyayo Pioneer prototypes are relics of a bygone era. They sit in a museum, collecting dust instead of miles. They are silent witnesses to a forgotten chapter in Kenya's history. For a generation of Kenyans, they represent a what-if moment, a glimpse of a different path the nation could have taken. The story of the Nyayo car is a bittersweet reminder of a bold dream. It's a story of incredible homegrown talent and ambition, but also a cautionary tale about the challenges of turning bold visions into reality. It reminds us that for innovation to succeed, it needs more than just a great idea. It needs sustained investment, smart policy, and a culture that nurtures it from a spark of inspiration to a roaring success. What do you think? Could a project like the Nyayo car succeed in Kenya today? The landscape has changed, with a vibrant tech scene and a growing manufacturing base. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. The story of the Nyayo car may have ended in disappointment, but the spirit of innovation it represented is still alive and well in Kenya. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into Kenya's history, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next video. See you next time.